to my eyes. First of all, back in 2014, I recall while watching TV news and then watching a program on the war that followed the news, they told of a man who had survived the war. In 2014, he was aged 90 years. His name, I've always remembered, Bernard Jordan. He was living in a care home in 2014. And as the 1st of July approached and the remembrance service got near, his big desire was to be at the remembrance service, not in his hometown, but back in France, where he fought in the war. He asked for permission to go, but he was told he had to stay put. There was no way he would be able to go. But he wasn't taking that for an answer. He got his clothes out, his best suit. He dressed himself. He went to his wardrobe and got his war medals and put them in his pocket. And he made his escape while no one was watching. When he was discovered missing, the police were informed, and the search started not only around his hometown, but throughout the whole of England. But with no success could he be traced or found. They feared the worst. But where was Bernard? Bernard was in France, where he had fought the battle. And that day he stood shoulder to shoulder with his comrades who had come through it like himself, with his medals proudly displayed on his suit. What a story. What loyalty. What commitment. There's a lot of that lacking today, where remembrance is concerned, where our heritage is concerned. The second story concerns this little booklet that I got given to me. And every soldier going to war was given this little booklet, St. John's Gospel. And inside the cover of it was a handwritten message from Lord Roberts to every soldier. And it's dated the 25th of May, 1916. And that message from Lord Roberts read, "I ask you to put your trust in God. He will watch over you. He will strengthen you. You will find in this little booklet guidance in health, comfort for sickness, and strength when you face adversity." And he signed his name at the bottom. You know, as I reflected on those two stories and that word from Lord Roberts, my mind went to orange arches. There are not so many about nowadays. And on those orange arches, even the ones that do remain today, there is an orange phrase, an orange slogan, but it's also a Bible truth. And it bears these words: "In God we trust. In God we trust." What encouragement, what comfort, what challenge we get from those four words. In God we trust. But there's people today, and maybe some in this gallery, and the question that has come right straight to your mind is, why? Why should I have confidence? Why should I have my trust in God? Well, the passage that the district chaplain read tonight tells us, gives us reasons for it. And they're linked to this service of remembrance. Three things, very quickly and briefly. Verse 14 reminds us to remember that God is our Creator. He is the ruler of heaven and of earth, as we read in those verses and Psalm 113. Friends, think of it this way. God knows you tonight. He knew all about you from the very second you were conceived in your mother's womb. He knew you throughout the 9 months that you stayed there. He knew you the minute that you came in to this world that He had created. And He knows everything about you, whether you've been long in this world or a shorter time in this world. He knows you personally tonight by name. Why have confidence in God? Well, there's the first reason. Because He made you. He knows all about you. And listen, you cannot hide anything from God. You can hide things. Looking at the younger ones here from the teacher at school, you know, when you're tempted to copy your homework and you hand it in and you get that well done and she doesn't know you copied it off the friend at the back of the last desk in the room, but God does. And that's cheating. He knows things about you that your wife mightn't know, that you've kept hid from her, or your husband mightn't know. God knows all about each one of us, and we can hide nothing from Him. And in these dark and evil days in which we're living in this world, and even in this country, and we're beginning to get fearful. But you know, the Bible tells us there are signs of the end coming, that the coming of the Lord is drawing near. And you say, well, I'm fearful. I'm fearful for myself. I'm fearful for my family. Do you know where you can find hope tonight? Where the future's concerned? And even the present age you're living in? It's in God. God who created you. God who is ruler of heaven and earth. If you want something to read before you go to bed tonight, get your Bible out and turn to Psalm 2 and begin to smile, because that psalm always makes me smile. You know, they're sitting scheming and planning up there at Stormont today. They're trying to get an agreement, and they're all trying to outdo the other. And we're praying for a divine intervention. And to think they're pulling the wool over each other's eyes, do you know something? They're not pulling the wool over God's eyes. God knows all that's going on. He knows all their schemes and their plans as He looks down from heaven. And in the middle of that little psalm, do you know what His reaction is to those people who think they're getting their own way and getting the victory? He laughs at them. He laughs at them. Because He has got them in His hand. And He knows what they're up to. And He will deal with them in His time and in His way. Why have confidence, trust in God? Because He is your Creator. He is the ruler of heaven and earth. Secondly, in verse 18, we read how God is our provider. He's a universal provider. He looks after and He provides for all of His creation on a daily basis. You know, I saw a wonderful picture this morning as I sat in the snug in our home in Portadown, and my wife and I meet there every morning to read the scriptures and to pray as we begin the day. And I saw God's wonderful creation. 2 little birds hopping throughout the garden. When one found a bit of food, it came across to the other and gave it to it. And when the other found a bit of food, it came and shared the food with the other bird as well. God is a universal provider. And the writer Jeremiah in Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 22, 23, if I can find it here quickly, he says this in case you question it and doubt it. He says, "This I recall to my mind, therefore I have hope." You're looking for hope? Therefore I have hope. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because His compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore I will hope in Him. The Lord is good unto them that wait for Him, to the soul that